Hi, everybody. Before you turn in your final copy of the Persuasive Letters, I just wanted to give you a little more input other than what I wrote in the discussion forums and what other people wrote to you. When you're writing a persuasive letter, please, 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 audience analysis is important. It's always important. If you decided that that personal persuasive letter that you wrote was not particularly persuasive, I have to ask you to look at your audience analysis. If the person you are writing to is an emotional person and you wrote from the logos, it probably won't work. I had that experience in graduate school. We always did this exercise in rhetoric and teaching college writing, and I would write to try to persuade my mother to leave the city and move out closer to me. And I would write a wonderful letter. I had all the reasons. I answered all her objections that I knew she would make. And the class asked, "Do you think this would persuade your mother?" I said, "No way." They said, "You've written a very logical letter. Is your mother a logical person?" And I laughed, because the last thing my mother was logical. She was superstitious. She was very emotional. The student said, "Why don't you revise your letter from an emotional standpoint?" It never did persuade her, but I stood a better chance approaching her from the emotion about how much easier it would be for us, how she could see the grandchildren more. The grandchildren would love to see her. And I certainly stood a much better chance with that approach. So please take a look at that before you write any kind of persuasive letter or any kind of argument in your personal relationships and your business relationships. Keep that in mind. It's really, really important. Now, persuasive letters are usually best done written in the indirect approach. You don't hit them with, "I think you should stop drinking," on the first line. You want to give some facts and lead up to it. So please make sure that the letter you're submitting for grading is done in the indirect approach. Now, as you research this, experts will tell you that if you are writing a persuasive letter to someone in your company, place of employment, and they are a superior to you, it's okay to write in the direct approach if you know the person prefers that. So again, this is why you need to do the audience analysis. If you know your boss doesn't like to mess around, he wants the message, he wants it right away, then go ahead and use the direct approach. But again, of course, you would decide that in your audience analysis. Okay, you want to keep these letters in a positive tone and take the you approach best you can. It's not always possible. You're going to say, "I think," but you could flip things around. So instead of saying, "You never take me to places where I want to go," which is probably going to get the reader very angry, you kind of try to flip it around. "It would be enjoyable if we could spend more time together. Maybe one week you could pick the event and the next week I could choose." You're saying the same thing, but you are probably keeping the person a little more open-minded than when you come on with the heavy negative language. And lastly, avoid a real angry tone. If you're really angry, write it out, get it out of your system. Some of you did that in the letters that you put on the discussion board last week. That's okay. But don't hit the post key or the send key for at least 24 hours. You want to cool off. You want to go back and read it. And then you might decide that that angry tone is not the best way to win an argument, and you may want to rephrase it with some of that you approach and a more positive tone. You want to keep that in mind. When you're angry, and you start off with your anger, most likely the reader's going to be really angry with you and pitch the letter, dump it, whatever, and not even read your reasons. That's why you want to try to keep it positive, and you want to use the indirect approach. Okay, I look forward to reading your letters. They are due Wednesday by 11:30 p.m. I'll take it till midnight. I think the system will let you submit it at midnight. I really don't have a command for midnight. It stops at 11:30, so try to get it there. And don't forget, you are also submitting a thorough and complete audience, purpose, persona, message statement, or if you like, the AIM method that your text offers you. It's essentially the same thing. He just goes at it from a different direction. Whichever one you like, make sure it's thorough. Okay, take care.